Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Trader Minute. It's great to have you on board. I'm Carl. Thanks for tuning in this morning. And the futures this morning down slightly, down about 5.5 right now. Our positions right now, Boeing set to open down about 30 cents. As far as Qualcomm, down about 8 cents. And our position in Morgan Stanley, it's really undecided about this point. Just right in between the bid and the ask prices. Fairly flat this morning. So, quick rundown on the positions. This week, look at the economic calendar. Uh, we've got basically nothing going on today, and earnings season really is kicking off tomorrow. This is, I think, what market is going to have be paying most attention to. J.P. Morgan. We've got Wells Fargo announcing earnings, and then it's just going to be a pretty steady blast of earnings for the next month to 2 months. Right, the biggest is going to be the next month, and I think that's what market's going to be paying attention to. How earnings tend to be coming out. The bigger companies, if they're come out pretty good, then we might see some more upside in the market. If banks and people, well, the other companies start to miss, quite a few of them start to miss, then might see a little bit of pressure put on the market. So I think it's all eyes are on earnings right now. Excuse me. This week, looking into the week this week, we got the producer price index. Okay, coming out on Wednesday morning, 6:30 our time, 8:30 Eastern time, and also you got the consumer price index, the CPI, coming out on Thursday. So Wednesday PPI, Thursday PPI, the CPI, and then some of the other reports, the JOLTS report on Friday, really not a lot of really big ones coming out. PPI, CPI, they're inflationary gauges. The market will always keep their eyes on, but no big, for the most part, no big market movers out this week. Okay, and then the typical weekly reports, the petroleum and things like that, the jobless claims. All right. Okay, so let's go out. One company we talk about occasionally in here, Soda, Soda Stream. They came out and warned it missed its targets for Q4. So last Friday they were trading around 50. Now this morning they're going to open up around 40, just under 42. So a pretty big drop. And whenever you get those warnings ahead of earnings, no one knows the exact numbers. They just know it's a miss, and so they will react. And then it kind of makes for an interesting earnings announcement, because how much of that reaction, once they come out with the numbers, how much of that is already baked in. And sometimes it can actually go back up, but most of the time it's never a good thing. And when they gap down like that and run. Okay, now one of my top three from last Friday, Verifone, P-A-Y. The Jones Group came out and said that basically they got a new contract from the Jones Group, that they're going to be using Pay's Verifone system. All right, so Pay this morning, that's always a positive news for it. Not really trading right now in pre-market, but that's always good news. And then MGM, they got an upgrade. And one of my top three from last week was Las Vegas Sands. All right, so bear with me just for a second here. All right, so I'm back. Sorry, Armin. All right, so just talking about Twitter, they just got an upgrade. Well, they got a reiterated buy rating on them, and the price target was listed to 65. Okay, so one thing we're going to do this morning is we're going to go out and take profits in our Boeing trade. So let's go out here, Boeing. And now we're going to go ahead and pull this. All right. Again, we're just going to go out and I'm going to take our profits on our Boeing trade. And it's probably moving pretty fast. I'm just going to go ahead and use a market order to exit Boeing. Okay, so we just got out of Boeing for 655. Just got out of Boeing for 655. All right, so you should be getting that shortly. Just going to take our gains on Boeing. Just a little bit of weakness in the market. Yes, snag. Thank you. I hope you just heard what I said there. We're just sold out of Boeing, taking our profits. And it's as far as, are we really bearish on Boeing at this point? No, not necessarily. They're probably going to keep running. We'll look for another entrance. However, the options are coming up on Friday. We're going to be looking at other positions here soon as well. But I just wanted to lock those gains in. Didn't want to let Boeing dance around for too long before we just decided to exit. So we just pulled off Boeing. Okay, and thanks, Jeff. Okay, now let's run around. Let's look over at Morgan Stanley here this morning. Okay, they're up about 8 cents. They're opening just fairly flat this morning. Yeah, exactly, Jeff. Thank you. And Jeff's just saying, if for those of you who might be listening to the recording or aren't looking through chat, again, we're not that bearish on Boeing. We don't think it's going to turn around and just drop out. But with the market gapping down a little bit, Boeing down about 46 cents or so this morning, we don't want to let that anything get away from us here on Boeing. So we just got out, locked in their gains. Now we're going to be looking for the next challenge trade. Oh, good to hear. Good to hear, Tradeham. As far as Qualcomm, open up about 6 cents, opening fairly flat this morning. Nothing. The other positions are not gapping down on us at all. So again, with Boeing, we had that nice gain there. We just took it off the table to protect that nice gain, and now we're going to be looking for the next challenge trade. Okay, so some of the other stocks out there. I just want to look at Verifone this morning. So upgrade up about 44 cents. Sorry, didn't get the upgrade. I always get those confused. It got a new order for their system by Jones Group, a pretty large company. All right, and then DSX. And Jeff's been talking about this. We've looked at this in here, the shipping area. And DSX, one of the bigger dogs in there. Dry ships always comes to mind, but DSX got an upgrade to a buy over at Deutsche Bank. Oh, nice, Jimmy. Good. Jimmy's saying he's got out of Boeing and VLO, and let's just check out VLO this morning. Okay, well, they had that huge run. They had a nice run here, up a couple dollars here, and today just opening up a little bit flat, down 18 cents. Nothing technically wrong, but it's you take gains. That's a nice opportunity. Okay, so nice work. Visa. they got upgraded this morning over at Citi to a buy, $265 price target, so 40 plus above where they're at. MasterCard this morning opening up just flat, well, 1.72, very pretty flat this morning. And then let's look at Las Vegas Sands. I want to look at Las Vegas Sands this morning, top three from last week. It's up 31 cents. So, and this is initially, right? It's pretty early on, but they got downgraded on Friday. So what they do, if I look at this technically, I don't see any major reaction here. Right? If I didn't know they didn't get a downgrade, I'm thinking, oh, it's just they're retesting the $80 range. If that holds, then off they go. Okay. But really, I think it's pretty much swept the downgrade under the mat. MGM is the one that got the upgrade from Bank of America to a buy. And I would totally on the Bank of America side. I mean, this is a very strong group. All of these, Wynn, Las Vegas Sands, as well as MGM. Uh, all very good looking stocks. Okay, Kihu. Kihu this morning's up $3.61. It's up about 4.5% right now. And Kihu got an upgrade to a buy over at Stifel Nicholas. And whenever I look at Kihu, I'm always going to go look at Baidu. Baidu up this morning, still there. I mean, what you're looking for here today is a push up, a big push up of 180, and the 7-day moving average would be very bullish. Would be another vibe bull signal if this comes in later today. All right, and then Autodesk jumping up about 1.5% this morning. Again, they got an upgrade to an overweight over there at Morgan Stanley. So another nice little jump there for Autodesk. And congratulations if you're in that trade. All right, so another one of my top three from Friday. This was Lowe's. I had two on Friday. Verifone, that's PAY, and Lowe's. Looks like it gapped down slightly this morning. It's come back up off the bottom cents. It's just down 4 cents. Technically, there's nothing to react to here. It still looks fine. Okay, and then Akamai, top three from Thursday, down just slightly this morning, down 51 cents. It jumped up there to the 48. I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of consolidation around here before it moves higher, but nothing technically wrong with this picture. Still looks bullish. And then MPC, Marathon Petroleum, had a nice recovery on Friday. It was down pretty substantially, dropped below 80, but went down there to the 7, pushed back up off of it by the end of the day and over 90. It still looks strong, MPC. Okay, and then with Yahoo this morning, down just 28 cents. So it's still consolidating back there, a bullish consolidation pattern back to the $41 area, as well as the 7-day moving average. Hasn't gone anywhere yet. It hasn't really shown any big signs of weakness either. So what we'd like to see here is a push up off of 41 and off that 7-day moving average, push this thing up to the next level. So nothing technically wrong there as well. Delphi Automotive, down 3 cents. Nothing. It's had a nice run up since it was on a top three last Tuesday, and there's still nothing technically wrong. It still has the bullish signals there for Delphi Automotive, and again, it's been a pretty good group. And then VLO this morning. We looked at this a little while ago, turning positive. It still looks strong, and again, I can't argue taking a gain anywhere along the way. So nice work. You take those gains like that. Okay, so our positions. Look at Morgan Stanley, up 4 cents, just opening fairly flat. It's about right where it opened. And then Qualcomm. Nice, Jimmy. Jimmy got 100% on Autodesk. Great work. All right, up 16 cents here on Qualcomm. Both phenomenal finishes into the close last week on Friday, where everything looked pretty grim for a little while, and then to turn and rally that last little bit. Very strong closes. Okay, so one thing I just wanted to point out, I came across this over at Market Watch this morning, and this just came out yesterday. Banks get a break on uh, the committee, the Basel Committee for Banking Supervision. It's made up of banking regulators. What they did, they loosened up on the banks. Uh, so the changes will lead to higher reporting capital ratios. I just came across this. I need to dig into a little bit deeper, but I noticed that the financials are holding their own this morning. It's probably because of what we're looking at right here. It's going to reduce the pressure on banks to either shed assets or raise more capital to meet the requirement. The biggest beneficiaries to the changes are going to be the banks that and most involved in securities and derivatives. All right. So there's a lot. This is a nice little article you can find on the front page of Market Watch. But this is some good news over there to the for the banks and a lot of the financials that we're looking at there. Okay, one thing I want to look at here, I want to take a look at Target. It's still in the news. The CEO says this morning he was interviewed and he says he's still a little bit shocked at that big hack they got there around Christmas, and so some downward pressure on him. Yeah, the CEO is still shocked about what took place. It's going to worry investors and shareholders a little bit. So we had a little bit of a sell off. What it's down, not quite 1%. It's right down here on 62. Now that's a pretty decent support level. It's held this level since October. So we got to see if that level breaks. If it breaks, it could drop, a couple dollars down to the $60 range with not without much problem at all. All right, let's look at Apple ULF. Up a couple dollars. So it's off the bottom here, and we were looking at this on Friday. Now let me bring in the Bollinger Bands here. Just wanted to bring in the bands and we go look at this again. So it hasn't dropped into the lower band. It did drop over here, but it immediately popped back out the next day. Really what I'm looking at here is the 540 mark. That's been some pretty decent support for it. Is there almost a week and slipped through it on Thursday of last week. And then Friday gaps up to the 7, pushes back down below that number. Pretty bearish move there. So when it's up, it's up a couple dollars this morning, which is very little for Apple. This would be one to watch. And if it rolls over and goes negative again today, it's got 520 probably written all over it. But watch it and see if it gains some strength, then it's not ready to go much lower. But I'll have to see. It's early on this morning, but so far it's nothing. It's not an extremely bullish move to see Apple gap up. So with Google, yeah, this if it closed right here, this is an ultra bullish signal. It's so early, this is what we'd like to see if it closed like this, but this is a beautiful bull vibe signal. If I bring in the vibe template and see what I'm looking at, and I'm sure that's what Jeff's looking at as well. If you saw this going into the close today, where you got this consolidation back to the 7, now it's pushing back up off the 7 over the 1140 mark. That could be a top 3 right there if it can close like this. Now Google is one of those that on some good signals, man, this thing could be up 20, 25 points at the end of the day. But you got to let it play out. It's a little bit early, and it can also drop back and close down in this range again today. But yeah, I still like Google. Nice looking setup. Yahoo this morning, down about 47 cents. Now it's done this before. It went on a top 3. This day right here did the same thing. Got to watch the 7. If it closes below the 7, if that's a stop, then exit. If it doesn't, it still looks like it's going to bounce higher. Doesn't just because it closes 7 doesn't mean that the uptrend's over and it's just going to crash. It just means the odds suggest a little bit of weakness rather than a breakout to newer highs at that point. So it's just down a little bit this morning. All right, Verizon holding its own. It's held it since Got down to this level on Thursday on a pretty ugly day, and then a little bit up on Friday, and then today back down around the 47.5 range. And we looked at this on Thursday last week, and the question came up: is it time to short them? My answer was let this thing consolidate a little bit. And that's what's happened. It's consolidated. It's right around the 7. You notice the 7's coming down quite a bit since then, getting closer. But if it push here below 47.5, could take this down a little bit around 47, really 46.50. It's where the next decent level of support is below it. So watch it. If it rolls, even if it pushed down below that 47.5 mark, it's a little bit away from that 7. Um, it could still be some consolidation. This might be one of those, if you're not in it bearish, it might just keep running away from you and not get you. Yes, NDC. We jumped out of Boeing this morning. Yes. And so far this morning, we're holding uh, Morgan Stanley and Qualcomm. Okay, but we took our profits in Boeing, and we're looking for another challenge trade. Look at bonds here this morning. Gapped up slightly, it's up about 18 cents. Had a nice little move here. And technically, it wasn't a bad move over on this day right here, last Thursday. Of course, hindsight, it's always a good move when I can go back and look at hindsight. But technically, that was a pretty strong candle. It gets up above the 7, comes back below it, and then by the end of the day, pushes up and over at positive or over on over 103. And it got some follow through on it. And this is one of those that's going to be driven by more fundamentals and technicals, but it's had a very nice run on it. All right. Okay, so let's another stock we look at. This is Dominion Resources, and this was never a top 3 or anything, but I just wanted to bring this up this morning. We talked about this in here. There was a trend rider bull signal on it on this day right here. It's a little bit of ways away from the 7. I chose elsewhere, but this morning they got an upgrade to an overweighted Morgan Stanley. So these stocks that break out like that, they capture some attention. And then here comes the upgrades come piling in. If and you see the volumes, very nice volumes. This is just so far away from the 7. I wouldn't touch it until you get some consolidation. Let that 7 catch up with it. But a nice looking chart there on Dominion. And then Twitter is another one. Okay, they got upgraded this morning. Price target was lifted to 65 bucks. And that was from 46. So to take it to 65, it's another $5 higher. It's already been at the 65 level. It's a pretty conservative price target. I think any of us could have put that price target on and been just as and done just as well with that price target. Okay, Broadcom. This is a stock I'm always keeping my eyes on, looking for an opportunity for breaks out. I was watching this for quite a while as it was channeling, looking for this for a top 3. Nice little challenge here, nice little channel here above the 27 mark, and then it broke out without me. It had these ugly days, these not the best breakout candles. When you get some black candles and little doji looking candles, and all of a sudden it pops out. But it's had a nice run ever since. And with Broadcom, price target was lifted to 32, a reiterated outperform on them over at FBR Capital. Now, and right now, where it's right on the 7 like this, it's starting to channel a little bit. Before I'd get too bullish and looking for another opportunity to the upside here, it's got to break up over this out of this channel. Basically 29 to about 29.60, something like that is the tight channel it's been in right now. And this upgrade's not really affecting it much. It's just in the lower range of the channel, probably headed towards up there. But I'd want this thing to jump up. Merlin, yeah, good question. Yes, we would have. And Merlin says, for those watching this and you can't see chat, if Boeing was a vibe or trend rider trade, would we have still gotten out? Yes. We wanted to lock in those gains this morning. We had a nice gain on it, a little bit of weakness this morning. They expire. The options expire on Friday. This is one we didn't want to let get away from us. We wanted to lock those gains in and move on. So yeah, good question. Yeah, we would have taken those gains. The other this morning. Look at Morgan Stanley. Didn't gap down much. Just came out flat. Boeing's the only one out of our current trades here that was showing some weakness this morning. The other ones are holding in there even when the futures were down. That's why we jumped out. And the market right now down about just under 2. So that's the only reason. We just wanted to lock those gains in. We didn't want to have it gap down a little bit and then run down on us, eating up a little bit more of the profit. So we decided just to take it. Good question. Yeah, Deb, nice trade on John Deere. And tractor of choice, in my opinion. Nice run. It's had some nice signals, and we've looked at these signals. It didn't. Some nice bottoming action here. So on this day over here, been about last Wednesday, it comes down to 89, held it by the end of the day, right? That's nothing too significant, but then you keep following it. On Thursday, it runs down below 89, comes right back up, and then Friday was the bigger one. Okay, down below 89 once again, and then it comes back up and finishes with a gain. It's nice technical action. It's bullish action, but it was just below the 7 there. It's one of those you could try to jump in on a Friday and jump in and anticipate that. If you did, nice work. You look at the bottoming action right here that we've seen during these 3 days. And look at the bigger volumes there. Okay? The big volumes, and it's holding the $89 level. It doesn't matter if it's red, if it's a filled candlestick or a hollow on big volumes, it's holding the 89. And when it did break and go positive finally on Friday, you notice the Friday volumes a little bit higher than the selling going on there. So it's suggesting a breakout. And it's a nice breakout. And let this run for a little bit. I wouldn't worry about this morning. Watch it throughout the day. Look at it later on. But so far, this is a very strong move. Okay, so nice work. With Google, a break here, if it can hold out here above 1160, this thing usually moves in $20 increments, pretty easy. Right now it's up 13 for 20 bucks. A day or two. There's been days where it's done that, but I'd just watch this one, let it run on you. If it gets up towards 1160, I'd probably get an itchy trigger finger. But right here, right now, let it keep working, and of course, anywhere along the way, if you're happy with a gain, then take it and run. Now, we talked about it a little while ago. Jeff was stating in the chat, and same here. I mean, this is a very bullish looking setup. This is an entry type of a candle. If you're already in it, let it run and see where it's going to take you. And again, I'd look towards 1160. If it can break and hold this level right here, it's 1160 all over it. That's a $20 move, and for Google, it's a nice move, but it's a $1,100 stock. But still, that's what I'd be doing, letting this work and see. And then once you got a nice little gain in there, then I'd look to take it off. Max, we'll be putting that together. We'll put that together and put it out here pretty quick. Okay, good question, Max. Okay. So let's just run back over our positions real fast. We got Morgan Stanley just flat this morning, and then Qualcomm. Again, we exited up 19 cents. Qualcomm's been a pretty strong performer as of late. So we'll watch this, and hopefully it's going to break up into the upper Bollinger Band here today. That would be a very positive for us here. All right. Now, MasterCard just opening flat this morning. It's right there on the 7. And this was one, it was on a top three of mine from Thursday. And a look at that. And it's just, it closed right at the 7. And this is one of those where if you get out, couldn't blame it because it came down so hard. It's a big bearish engulfing pattern. Today it's down 1. It's still right where it was. This is, if you're in this trade, it's just one of those tough calls. You just get out and hope it doesn't go down, or do you hold it in hopes of it returning and going positive? If it did run up here above 840 again today, it'd be and erase that bearish engulfing pattern, that'd be very bullish for it. But initially, there's not much to react to right there. Let's go look at Visa. Visa up. It's up about $2 right now. They got an upgrade by Citi. Discover card just flat, down about 21 cents. And then just looking through this group right here, down about 60 cents over there in Capital One. Are we talking about Citi? Let's look at Citi. Just down slightly. Goldman's, oops. Goldman Sachs, down slightly. So some of the bigger dogs are down a little bit here this morning. Now DSX, this Diana Shipping. They got the upgrade, up 18 cents. That's 1.5%. Now, it's not any time to run out and buy these guys, right? Nice little dragonfly here on Friday. Got an upgrade on it, so that helped that dragonfly pattern up, jumping up. Whenever I look at these, I want to go look at dry ships. Now, I had the same type of a pattern on Friday, and this is not going anywhere. It's still showing a lot of weakness. All right, so down a little bit. Silver Company, First Majestic. Uh, nice little pattern here. Break up here above 10.5 would be very, very bullish. Gold Core down a little bit this morning. SLV. I like that First Majestic. I'm going to keep an eye on that. But it's been outperforming the other type of silver type stocks. Looking for a breakout there would be very positive for it. It's not a trend rider or a vibe, but it's showing so much strength in here. When this silver decides to turn and go bullish, gold, this thing is going to be one of the first to jump, and it should jump pretty very nicely. SodaStream, ouch, down 21%. Yeah, down 10, over almost $11. Close up here at 50, down here trading at 39. Ouch. Okay, Ford. Yeah, very nice. I mean, look at that gap right there, 2.5%. Okay, Richard, we're probably around that same range. We just got to put those numbers together, and we'll get the R's out there. And then, it's a very nice move there. Now it's looking for an entry right here. No, way too far away from that 7. Got to give some consolidation, and it might just keep going. But right now, the volume's been pretty strong. It's just been gapping higher. Now they over here on Thursday last week they announced a dividend. Okay, and it's done nothing but show strength since. General Motors. Now, from what I read this morning, they're getting close to reinstating their dividend. Nothing there yet, but they're getting close. It's up slightly. Obviously, Ford the outperformer here, of course, because I'm a Ford guy. But anyways, all right, Tesla. All right, now Tesla dips below the 7 over in this range, and then keeps coming up to it, and you notice it keeps selling off below it. So it's bearish price action. Is there a strong level here at 145? Yeah, it's an okay level as far as some type of support for it to break. A break below that would likely put it down here to the 140 level, down back another $5 or so. Book value on these guys a lot less than where it's at, but it's been like that for a long time. Okay, so yeah, it's showing some weakness here. If it had a strong close down here below 145, very bearish, especially if it broke below 140 and into this lower Bollinger Band, and then it's probably down here another 10 down to the 130, 125 area. But watch it throughout the day. It's a little bit early right now to say run out and jump into this short. If you're already in it short, nothing to worry about. There's no strength right here at all. But you'll be looking for this to come to 145 and maybe even in that lower Bollinger Band for this thing to. Okay, yeah, the new CEO and the Detroit Auto Show. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on General Motors this week and see how it reacts. It could be a volatile ride for GM if it's got all that kind of stuff going on for it. Boeing, nice, Tom. Nice, 694. Good exit. It's coming up a little bit. Yeah, we just wanted to get out, take the position, take the profit, and look for the next challenge trade. So we didn't want to take any chances of this running against us. A little bit harder this morning. Okay, Morgan Stanley, just flat again. Qualcomm, just down 7 cents, just flat again. We are going to be watching our positions very closely and see how this day plays out for us. But yeah, Apple up $6. It's right up there on the 7-day moving average. Had a nice pullback here to 530, and you look across there, 530. It was some decent resistance over here. Really, there's a pretty good level here between 530 and 520 on support for it. So to see it catch right here, not a big surprise. But it doesn't mean that this little bearish nature is over yet. It just right now is showing some strength. It's got to get up over that 7 right there and lock in 540. Then I'd feel a little bit more comfortable going bullish on it. But yeah, thanks. It is pretty strong today. CSX Corp had a nice signal over here. This is a bull vibe from last week. Some pretty decent price action on it with all the averages rising right through here. And then you get this candle right here on Thursday. It's a nice setup. A variation of a three methods rising candle pattern here. Jumped up like that. It's a bullish move. And it's getting some follow through last couple of days. It keeps going higher and higher. I'd watch this up to around the $30 area. This wasn't a top three or anything. Nice looking. It's got very strong signals right here. I'd put about a $30 target on here. Get up. It might consolidate a little bit around 29. I would think that 30 is going to be the bigger level of resistance, but I don't think that's going to be a trend changer at 30. It just might consolidate around that level a little bit. So yeah, it's still showing some strength there, Milo. Thanks. The Qs. Yeah, nice chart. Thanks, Mel. So what you'd be looking for the Qs here, if you're looking for a type of a entrance signal, what you'd be looking for, if you're bullish in it, stay in it, right? Be looking for is a candle like that. Today, tomorrow, where it's jumping up off the 7-day moving average. It's got some strong volumes on Fridays, holding 87, and that's also very bullish. We can see for the last 3 days in a row, last Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, down below 87, keeps closing back above it, and the 7-day moving average is there as well. Okay, a push higher like that would confirm this thing's ready to go towards 90. So nice looking chart. Initially, just flat, but that's what I'd be looking for at the end of the day today or tomorrow. A strong push like that, and it's suggesting that $88 level to break this time around, and higher it goes. Now Goodyear, this is had a nice breakout and still, even today, it's up 2 cents. A little bit of a pullback, but 2 cents. It's been a big outperformer of that group, and very strong signals. And I remember the day a top three from like a week ago or something like that had a nice looking breakout signal, and it did. It broke out, took up, and just took off. Dover Corp, what you'd be looking for here. From what I'm seeing, let me back out. Got little rising indicators here. You see that all the averages rising as well. What you'd be looking for as far as a signal, a nice bullish signal, would be for a stronger push here up through the 7 and over the 95 mark. Then it's suggesting, hey, it's probably going to run another leg higher at this point. But watch it and see if you get it. If it breaks down below 94 and down below that, pushes off that 7-day moving average, it's not ready to run yet. Doesn't mean that the bullish uptrend that we've been seeing here recently is over. Just saying it's not ready to run higher right away. So watch it. I mean, a push up here over the 7, over that 95 mark, a stronger candlestick like that would be a very bullish signal right here. And Friday's price action too, where you can see how it sold off below 94. It's like a Qualcomm, drops quite a bit, and then all of a sudden reverses and runs higher. Okay, it's still below the 7 there, but odds are it's suggesting this is going to break the 7 and run higher from there. I'd just watch it and let it do that for you. Let it show you it's going to break above a 7 and above 95, and then it's got higher highs written on it. Okay, Cisco. Thanks, Deb. Yeah, a nice little break higher this morning. This is not wouldn't be a vibe. Let's go see this in the eyes of a trend writer. Okay, so it's not a vibe or a trend writer, but it's very bullish price action here. And I didn't see news on them. It's got an upgrade or something, but it did gap higher and running higher this morning. That's a very positive sign for it. Technically speaking, it's breaking out above the past little resistance there, around 2230, something like that. Breaking out and running up off of that. It's very bullish price action. If I had calls here, I wouldn't go anywhere. As far as an entrance right now, I'd watch it throughout the day and see. First, I'd check news on it, see if there's anything. There may or may not be anything on it, but it's a very bullish chart like this. If you're looking to enter, I don't know if I do it right off the bat. I'd let this thing play around for a little while. We're still within the amateur hour range, but as far as entrances, but initially this is very bullish price action. By the end of the day, if this turned into a gravestone, which means it's sold off and you got an upside down capital T right there, it's a little bit bearish on it. But no, it's had a nice rebound off of a bottom, and today it's breaking up into new highs. Recent highs, I should say. Very strong signal for it. LinkedIn. Okay, I'll look at those. Thanks, TradeHound. With LinkedIn, just looking at this. So it's not a vibe trend writer, but it doesn't mean it's not bullish or bullish on it. Just looking at the price action here. Watch the 220 mark. It's a multiple of 10. It's danced around this for a little while now. Yeah, that's the number you'd want this to break up through that level. Could it break the level? I'm just trying to get up here so I can see what the volumes have been. Yeah, the volumes have been pretty decent. Volumes have been pretty decent on this run right here, and on this, if I look at these volumes right here, as this has dropped down towards the 200 range, look at the volumes pick up right here. Okay, so it's picking up. It's basically one day it got to 200 and just skyrocketed off of it. A lot of buyers right here around the 212 area, and once it dipped down below that, man, it was bought up pretty ferociously. So the volumes have been pretty strong. That's pretty good bottoming action right there. Now the next target here, you got to let that 220's got to break and see if it can't get out of this last little range that it's been in. And with those volumes, it could break. It might not break today, maybe not tomorrow, but the odds are it's going to break up through there. Um, the 7-day moving average is quite a ways away from it. Now, there's not an entrance here, but since you're in the trade, just watch the 220. If it can break up through that, very bullish. Now, one thing it did too, it hit the lower Bollinger Band, and you see it also broke the center band, which puts odds saying that it could come up to the upper band. Right? So most times, not always, but a lot of times when stocks hit the lower band and they end up breaking the center band, they'll go to the top band. It doesn't mean it's going to happen this time, but that's a good signal for it. So hang in there. And if it drops, to me, I'd keep a tighter stop. I don't know when you got it exactly, but I wouldn't let this get away from you too far. Where it's it got the lower lows, lower highs coming in here, so don't let it get away from you too far. That could continue. So watch 220, look for that to break. Don't ride it too long if it starts to go against you. TSO, yeah, Tesoro. So there's the channel, and you want that to break. It's got a little bit of a pattern here. It's called a symmetrical triangle. Yeah, you could say it's a flag pattern too, and a flag pattern you could go from 50 to 59, and we did this last week. So it's saying a break here out of the upper channel could move another $9 higher, which would put this up into the $67 area. Yeah, it could happen. I mean, when Tesoro takes off, it breaks. It really goes places. But you watch for a break. Now, see what's happening here. The highs are coming down, yet the lows are going up. So it's creating this little bit of a triangle pattern right here. And yeah, it's going to break out. And when it does, again, to the upside, the thing's really going to skyrocket. But just watch it and let it. To me, I like to let these confirm. A close well out of the channel right. That would be very bullish. Either the upper bearish and to get real bearish on it, it probably have to come down here to 56, break into the lower band. Bullish, above the 58.5 mark is what I'd like to see. It's just been so volatile. Had some beautiful looking signals. The next day it's down. The next day it's up. The next day it's down. It's just all over the place, but not breaking out of the channel. Yeah, I'd like to see it break to the upside too. Probably will, but it's just showing it's not ready yet. Yahoo, yeah, it's coming back from where we looked at a little while ago. All right, it's still early, but it's still above the 7, and the 7's consolidating back to the 7. Odds are saying that this is going to bounce up over and break up over 41 and off that 7. It's got an uptrend intact. That's the likely next step. If it closes below the 7, if you got in it, then I'd probably exit. Now it's so close to the 7 right now. It might be a little bit tight right there. I might give it 40. Let this thing give it a chance. Yeah, Richard. Yeah, I would agree. Let that triangle resolve. Let it show you its hand before it takes off. Yeah, Jimmy. Let me go back. Sorry, let me go back to Tesoro. And I'd agree. Jeff was stating last week that Tesoro, there's a good chance it could run down before it breaks out. Yeah, and is it the market makers taking it down? I don't know. It could be before the next push higher. Is it just price action? It probably just price action. But a lot of times that's what stocks will do right before a run. They'll break down, look bearish, and then off it goes. And the breakdown could come down here to the lower band and then jump to the upper band. But right now, if you don't get that, what I'd look for is a strong break out up to the upside or the downside, but it's got to break out of that range. And the longer it stays tight like this, it's like winding the spring a little bit tighter every day, the more of a breakout you'll breakout action that you're going to get, and it should have a nice move on it. All right, just a quick rundown on the positions, and I'll jump off here. Morgan Stanley just flat, sitting at, and then Qualcomm up 11 cents. So we jumped out of Boeing this morning, took the gains. We're still in Qualcomm. Yeah, Richard, that's another good sign too. The Bollinger Band's expanding there on Tesoro. And If you have any questions, comments, just go ahead and put those in. I'll be on chat with you all day. Josh will be here as well. But have a good day. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye bye.